Well, as Republicans battle for control of the Senate, they also have an eye on the courts. Because, you know, the president needs Senate approval to appoint federal judges. So if the Senate goes Republican, that potentially could affect the bench, the decision, and maybe even the Supreme Court itself. What can we expect? Robert Schalk is a defense attorney and former prosecutor, and defense attorney Keisha Hebron is also a former prosecutor. Robert and Keisha, welcome. Robert, let me just start with you. If the Senate goes Republican, are we going to see a change in the federal judiciary?
I think we'll see some changes in the fact that President Obama currently has 2 years obviously left on his tenure in office. He has 90 pending appointments to various federal courts all over the country, and he's already appointed 280 appointments. So those 90 definitely would be thrown in flux, because I don't think you'd see as many go through, if not any go through, if the Senate is taken by the Republicans.
Wow, so Keisha, you can potentially have these 90 judges in waiting not get their jobs.
The nomination could be blocked because, as you stated earlier, the Senate controls that. They have the right or the ability to block those nominations. But because the president already appointed over 200 federal judges, those judges are already going to have a big influence on the federal judiciary. So I don't know if it's going to really make that big of a difference.
But potentially, if you have 90 who may be more liberal and they can't get the jobs, in order to get someone through the Senate, Robert, you got to get someone who may be a little more conservative and can pass Republican muster?
Right, someone who maybe is more towards the middle of the road that's going to pass muster. Right, you're going to see a lot of the appointments potentially change. And we have to remember, these are appointments that are lifetime appointments. These judges do not run for re-election. So once they're in, they're in. And so these are very big decisions that have to be made, because there are so many issues that are going to come up in the next, presidential years and down the road of life. If we talk about immigration, you're talking about the always issues of abortion, civil rights, gun control. How are those things going to play out? It definitely depends on who gets appointed to these spots.
And do you think that on some of these decisions it could go in a different way than we have, because you may have different judges with a different Senate?
Right, especially with the gun law, the control of the gun laws. If you have more liberal judges, a lot of Democrats are looking to make strict gun laws because of all the issues that have been going on with the shootings in the schools, movie theaters, and things like that. So you may see some changes. And a lot of people are arguing, well, wait a minute, we have the right to bear arms, but there needs to be some type of restriction on that, I personally believe, and you will see a change in that if the judges are more liberal.
Wow, and also, of course, we haven't got the big enchilada is the Supreme Court and the membership there. Ruth Bader Ginsburg potentially. They've talked about her retiring. She may not, and you never know.
Right.
What does it mean if there is a vacancy on the court with a Republican Senate?
Right, with the Republican Senate, I would think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg would hold out as long as possible before retiring, before giving away to anybody. They would literally make her hold out until the last possible moment.
Don't retire, stay there until the Senate's Democratic again.
You got it.
You got to stay in your job no matter what, until it changes. And I think that's probably happened before.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You see it all the time.
There are some federal judges now that are sitting on the bench that are in their 80s, and they're just waiting till they're told more or less by their political party, you can retire. We're going to have someone that's going to be able to pass through.
Wow, that's good that they've got that senior status.
No question.
So, Keisha, last question. What do you expect will happen with the Supreme Court? Because if the Senate is Republican, at least for the next 2 years, then let's say there's a Republican president, that could change the whole thing in 2016.
Right. I don't see much change because, like we stated, a lot of those judges aren't going anywhere. They have lifetime tenure. So until a judge retires, it's not going to really be much change, even with the next president coming in, because a lot of the judges are not old enough to retire, or they don't have to.
How do you get that job?
I know.
Sign me up.
Well, we'll have to see what happens with the Senate. But it's a great point that we brought this up today, because you generally don't think, you think of politics, but you don't think of how the composition of the Senate can actually affect judicial appointments and how that could affect our lives with those decisions.
Right.
Robin and Keisha, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Well,
very good. Okay, a lot of sore feet in New York City right about now. One of the biggest marathons in the world, wrapping up 26.2 miles later. We're going to take a look at how the police kept it all safe and secure.
And we are America's election headquarters, but who is oh my gosh, they're putting this up, that young lad? We're going to tell you in a few moments. This was before Watergate. It was coverage on cable television. When we come back, I'll tell you, well, you can guess.
Is that Fred Flintstone's TV set?
We'll be right back.